What's good, YouTube? You already know it is your boy Triple N, and I'm a part of the Unlucky Bros Incorporated. And this is, I'm still on my feels about Buddy Fight. Buddy Fight ended last year, and thanks to what's been going on in the world, we really couldn't give Buddy Fight an actual proper farewell. They gave us one with the box set that I didn't get to pick up, which is kind of sad, but like. And I heard that today is the last day Buddy Fight is doing something in Japan. Like I said, the day is sad. Buddy Fight was a really magical game, so since it's such a magical game, I thought I would get a deck profile of a Magic World Mystic Knight. So let's you see how I do, yeah. But the flag, Magic World, the Buddy, Flaming Red Prison of Love Sync. But let's get into it. Got four Flaming Red Prison of Love Sync. He's your buddy. Pay 2 gauge. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into the gauge. When you cast a fire spell, all your Mystic Knights get +3 attack and defense. Counter. Call this card on top of a Magic Knight who has a power over 9,000. Alright. Or greater, and without paying its call costs. During each player's attack phase, when a fire spell, I got dogs, gain 1 life. Spell you gain a life, and you could deal 1 damage to your opponent. And he also has counter attack, so usually you would just have these drop spells willy nilly, and then you'll get a bunch of power and stuff. And during attack phase, you could deal damage and gain a bunch of life with it. On to our next ones. Play 4 Magic Bazist Asagi. When this card enters the field, if you have another Magic Knight, I keep saying Magic Mystic Knight on your field, put the top card of your deck into the gauge and draw a card. You need 4 of this. It's so lit. If you have your equip or your monster, just play it. You get that gauge and that draw, and it's not a hard one. You can keep doing it over and over again. It's more many times as you play it. So, yeah. On to I play 3 Magic Manipulator Knight. All Mystic Knights on the field cannot be destroyed, and their abilities cannot be nullified by opponent's card effects. Really good. It's a good protector. At the start of the attack phase, if this card is 6,000 or greater for this turn, all Mystic Knights on your field gets critical +1. So gotta get that good old critical, So really good for that. It's mostly there for the protection. So. There's a lot of all cards kind of blow things up nowadays. So, Mystic Knight Apprentice Sync. Pay 2 gauge. Skull cost is pay 2 gauge. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into the soul. If you cast a fire spell this turn, all your Mystic Knights get +3. So it looks like the other sync. He has a counteract ability. Have you forgotten again? During your turn, put up to 1 fire spell from your deck into your hand. Shuffle your deck. So it's a hard one per turn. So it's literally there for getting certain spells you might need. And it has double attack, soul guard, and counter attack. So it's a really good card. I really like starting with him when you really want to get certain spells. I played 2 Bewitched Crimson Mirage Sync. Pay 2 gauge. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into the soul. When you cast a fire spell for this turn, it's the same effect. Everything gets 3 attack, 3 defense. All Mystic Knights with over 9,000. I guess that's the thing around here. Power on your field gets critical. Critical +1 and penetrate, and their damage cannot be reduced if they're attacking alone. So you can do a lot of crit pressure. Some penetrate pressure, and they can't be reduced, which is really nice. As counterattack and soul guard. I love having counterattack with this because you can beef their numbers so high. So having counterattack is really nice. Magic Singer Sync. Pay 2 gauge for the top 2 cards of the deck and soul. When you cast a fire spell, it does the same thing with the 3 attack and 3 defense. At the start of your attack phase of this card, power is over 12,000 or greater. For this turn, all Magic Knights on the field gets double attack. So it gives everything double attack. It's not something I really go into often, but it's there. If you need it. Last monster I play is 1 Blue Rose Flutter Sorrow Asagi. It's like the other one, the one that lets you draw. It's like an upgraded version. Put this card on top of a Mystic Knight monster on the field and pay 1 gauge. Counteract, you may call this card from your hand by paying its call cost if you cast a fire spell during its turn. So you could like do some multi-swing shenanigans. Swing, call her over, yeah. But when this card attacks, if its power is 9,000 greater, put the top card of your deck into the gauge, gain 1 life and draw a card. So it literally does what the other one does, but instead of on call, does it on attack, and you have to have over 9, which isn't a problem because you can literally activate 1 spell and she'll have it. Alright, on to our spells. There's a ton of spells, boy. It is a ton of spells. 4 Droplets of Temptation. Pay 1 gauge and pay 1 life. Put up to 1 Mystic Knight monster with sync in its card name and up to 1 Mystic Knight item from your deck to your hand deck. So it's your searcher. It is a hard one, but you got to play 4 because you want to see it, because you literally need your item and you want to get a certain, Mystic Knight. So this is a must of. 4 Wings of Revolt. I think this is like one of my favorite cards in this deck. You can only cast this if you have a Mystic Knight on the field. Draw a card and choose up to 1 of the following 2. You can only cast Wings of Revolt once turn. For this turn, all Mystic Knights on the field gets power 6 plus 6,000. Counter for all this turn. All Mystic Knights on the field gets defense plus 6. So it's like you can use it on your turn and give them a lot of power, or you can use it on your opponent's turn, give them some defense. And if you have the sinks on the field, they're gonna give themselves plus an extra 3 because you cast a spell. So, and potentially might heal you and burn your opponent if you have the right sink on the field. I play 4 Selector of Sin, really good card. You can only cast this if you have a Mystic Knight on your field. Counter, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the gauge. And for this turn, all Mystic Knights on your field gives power plus 3, attack and defense, which is going to be technically double if you have any sinks on the field, which you most likely will have sinks on the field. Then if your drop zone has 3 or more different fire, put up to 1 fire spell from drop zone other than select your sink to your hand. So it's a good recycle too. That's another reason why you play for this. It gives you gauge, gives you a power and defense boost, and lets you get another fire spell from your drop zone. So if you used one, you're like, oh, I could use it. You can use it during you used it during your turn, but then you can use it during your opponent's turn. You can grab one out the drop, so you can then use it on their turn. I play 4 Sephiroth's Lectures. I play 4 to see it. It's a really good card. You could probably bump it down to 3 or so, but it's really good. You only can cast this card if you cast a spell during this turn. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put 1 of them in your hand. Put the rest into your gauge. So it's going to be really good. So you cast a spell on your opponent's turn, or then you just cast this to try to get more cards in, or you can do it on your turn. You cast a spell, play it, get another card engaged, and then grab a card you really want. Like if you just look at the top 2, whatever one you really think you need at that time, grab it, put the other one in gauge. 3 Lunatic Circus. Pay 1 life, choose 1 of the following. Put up to a total of 2 Mystic Knight monster items from different card names from your drop zone to your hand. Counter, call up to 1 size Mystic Knight from your hand or drop zone and call close. So it's really good. It lets you either get some stuff to use, or you could call a monster in your opponent's turn if you just need that extra monster. Let's say they killed maybe some of your Mystic Knights, or they just killed the one you had in the center. Pop this, grab another Mystic Knight. Now they have to start over. So I played 3 nice ones. Pay 1 gauge, draw 2 cards. I know some people probably would be like, play at 4. I think play at 3 is fine. There's a way to recycle spells, so just generic draw support. 2 Holy Magic. I love using this card. I used this on Flames, and it's so fun to do. Return 3 or more different spells from your drop zone to your deck, and then shuffle it. And if you do, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the gauge, and gain 2 life. Then if you return 6 or more, you draw 2 cards. If you return 9 or more, deal 3 damage to your opponent. I actually defeated Flames in a game by doing the whole shuffle back 9. It's not hard in this deck. There's so many spells, so like literally shuffling back 9 different spells is not hard. It's really not. I think any Magic World deck could probably utilize this card with these, because you don't have to do the whole 9 thing. You could just use it for the gauge and the draw cards, but if you want to go the extra mile, you can. I do it with this deck, no problem. 2 Last Songs. You only cast this if you have 2 or more Mystic Knights monsters on the field and you have a Mystic Knight item equipped. Put the top 2 cards of your deck in the gauge, gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. This deck has a lot of draw, get gauge, because you need all that. You need all that just to function and stuff. So only play 2 because it's, well, 1, it's searchable, and 2, like, you have to have that board set up, so it's not hard to get to if you really need it. with all the draw power and stuff. 2 gates of transmission. This gauge cost of this card goes down for each fire in the drop zone. Pay gauge of 5. Usually you can get this off for free. Choose one of the following. Return up to 2 cards in your opponent's field to the hand, or rest 2 cards in your opponent's field. It's just some disruption to your opponent. You don't want them to swing, you could do that. Or you could return the 2. There's a lot of cards that say they can't be returned to. You could rest them or something like that. It just depends on what you need in what situation. 2 Nightmare Cage. Cast cost, pay 1 gauge, pay 1 life, up all Mystic Knights on your field. Then for this turn, all Mystic Knights on your field can attack during the final phase. So this is really good for that multi-swing. You want to do that. Multi-swing, swing, swing, swing. You know, cast this, go final phase, swing, swing, swing again. So, 2 Nightmare Cages. Really cool card. I play 2 Flame of Memory. Pay 1 gauge and drop 1 Mystic Knight from your hand. Draw 3 cards. Really good card. This deck has a lot of draw, so I only play the 2. You only really need the 2. Drawing 3 cards is fun. So, on for our one-ofs. 1 Flame Quartet. If you have a Magic Knight on the field, you can put the top 2 cards of your deck into the gauge, gain 2 life, and then cast Flame Quartet once per turn. At the start of your main phase, if this card's in your drop zone, you may drop a hand card. If you do, put this card from your drop zone to your hand. So it's literally just to give you life and to give you gauge. It has a recycle effect, so the 1 is fine. 1 Deep Blaze Singularity. Pay 1 gauge. You only can cast this if your opponent attacks. Negate the attack. Then if you have a Mystic Knight on your field for this turn, all cards on your opponent's field gets -3. That one's a unique one, making your opponent lose. I'm used to monsters gaining, but not your opponent losing. So it's a unique card. I'd play that one just cause you never know when it'll come in handy. You pay the gauge, do it. Your monsters are most likely gaining 3, depending on the number of sinks, or just sink on the field, and then you make your opponent lose. So this is a cool card. Sometimes it might not work though, because you know some decks have monsters that have so much power it doesn't matter if you lower them by a few notches. 1 Resolution of Red. It's another one of those pay 5 gauges, but it gets reduced for every fire. So usually you play it for free. Destroy up to 2 cards in your opponent's field. It's just it could board. It can mess with some people's boards, just depending on like what you blow up and stuff, and when you blow it up. So yeah, this is really cool. On to the items. This is the last card. Magic Twin Neck Guitar Kigiri. Put up to 2 fire in total from the drop zone to the soul and pay 1 gauge. This card can attack even if there's a Mystic Knight in the center. All Mystic Knight in the field cannot be returned to the hand, and they cannot have their soul cannot be dropped by opponent's card effects. If you have a Mystic Knight monster, if you were to call a Mystic Knight monster, the gauge of the card is reduced by 1. You always need this because you have to have a Mystic Knight item. So you always want to get to this, and it's like getting to it is not a problem because there's search cards, there's draw cards. So you always want to equip this. This is really good. And it lets you reduce the cost. So a lot of cards have pay 2 gauge. You can drop that by 1, so you only have to pay 1 gauge. And there's so much gauge and stuff in this deck, so it's really nice. But this is my Mystic Knight deck. Hope you enjoy. Like I said, I really miss Buddyfight. Buddyfight forever, dog. Buddyfight forever. Really sad that I didn't really get into the game as much as I wanted. But I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss Buddyfight. And technically it's not really going anywhere. I still probably play some games. Probably still put some stuff on the channel if y'all want. If that's what y'all want. Let me know if y'all want some Buddyfight games on the channel. I think we'll be happy to do it for y'all. But that's going to be the end of the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And let us know what y'all want to see in the future. Peace.